Afternoon to all of you again, and this lecture we are going to understand different growth phases and stages of rice. And I must thank International Rice Research Institute Philippines, from which I have borrowed most of the content of this presentation, and also to Dr. S.K.D. Datta, whose book I used in the preparation of this presentation. The basic objective is to understand the difference in growth and development of rice, how these two terms are different from each other, and thus the features and details of different growth stages. There are about 10 growth stages, and what are the differences in different growth stage, when a particular growth stage will start and when it will end. So there are different ways and means people have divided growth stages of rice crop, but most of the people agree to the classification given by International Rice Research Institute. I also follow that classification. So now see the difference in growth and development. Most of you understand different in these two terms. Growth is a complex process with different organs developing, growing, and dying in overlapping sequences. So that is growth, or an irreversible increase in size, which is usually but not necessarily accompanied by an increase in dry weight. So this is another definition of growth: irreversible increase in size, weight, or volume. But that has to be irreversible in any case. Generally speaking, with respect to plant, the increase in dry matter is considered as the growth of the plant. And development means phasic changes in the life of an individual. What we human beings start with the baby, then we become a child, then we become adolescent, then adult, then old people, something like that. Similarly, plant also changes. Plant also enter into different phases: reproductive phase, maturity, ripening. So these are the phases, and there are several physiological processes which affect these phases, particularly changes in the hormonal production. Hormone production will affect your phases. So development is a whole sequence of qualitative structural changes that a plant undergoes from the zygote to the death. From zygote, it will be embryo, and how zygote is formed. Then embryo, from embryo, it will multiply and grow into a new plant, and new plant will produce root, shoot, vegetative growth, and then it will come to flowering or reproductive growth, and then maturation. So these are different phases of development of a plant. The developmental changes may be gradual or abrupt. They may be gradual. Normally they are gradual, but they can be abrupt also. For example, germination. It is very quick. Maybe in 4 or 5 days seed germinates. Most seed germinate in 4 or 5 days. Flowering and senescence. Flowering is also for a very brief period. Here flowering does not mean that starting from opening of the first flower up to the seed development until the petals are there. Here flowering means just maturation of sexual organs. That is your stamen and this gynation. And then senescence. It cannot be measured in quantitative terms. The development can never be measured in terms of quantities and is either described or illustrated with the help of photographs or drawings. Means change in the physical appearance of an individual. Development includes growth, enlargement, and differentiation. Morphogenesis. Through morphogenesis, you understand different morphological changes happen in the plant. Maturation, and then senescence. So you see how the growth behaves in sigmoid curve. And most of you, I think, are part of the one course, Principles of Crop Production. There somebody may teach you about this sigmoid curve. In the beginning, the growth is very slow, lag phase, and then slow growth, then very rapid at a very, very high rate, and then rate of growth starts decreasing. So this is sigmoid curve of growth, and simultaneously you will have different phases of life. Phases of life where you get the rapid growth. This is mostly vegetative phase. Most of the plant, this is mostly vegetative phase. After completion of the vegetative phase, then reproductive phase may start. So at reproductive phase, the growth of the plant is at a very slower rate, very decreased rate. But phagic changes are there. Now, it was just an outline to explain to you the difference in growth and development. Now see the growth phases of rice. First, we will see phases of rice. Each phase has been divided into different stages. So there are three phases: vegetative, reproductive, and ripening. Germination to panicle initiation is your vegetative phase in rice. Remember it. Then from panicle initiation, initiation is the beginning of the development of inflorescence of rice. So panicle initiation to the flowering. Flowering means opening of the flower. Then ripening is flowering to mature grain state till the grain matures. There are three different growth phases of rice. So you can see this picture: green, blue, and orange, or basanti color, whatever you call. It starts from germination to the mature grain, and then vegetative phase, reproductive phase, ripening phase. So the duration of the reproductive and ripening phase is fixed. It will not change with the variety. Whether you have 80 days old variety or 150 days old variety, the reproductive and ripening, the duration of reproductive phase, ripening phase is fixed. So reproductive phase start at panicle initiation and ends at flowering. Flowering means just for pollination. You can say here pollination means flowering here. And then flowering to mature grain stage. Now, in tropical conditions like ours, the reproductive phase is for 35 days, almost fixed. The duration of the reproductive phase, which is initiation of panicle initiation up to the flowering stage, it is 35 days. And ripening means from flowering or fertilization or pollination or seed development to maturity or ripening is 30 days. So reproductive plus ripening phases makes you 65 days. And this 65 days is fixed. Only difference is in vegetative stage. Vegetative, the duration difference happens in case of vegetative stage. Others are fixed. So see case of IR64 variety here in the example, where maturity is for 110 days. This 110 days is from seed to seed. It also includes the seedling period or period in nursery if it is transplanted. Otherwise, if it is direct sown, then it is also from seed to seed. So normally this IR64 matures in 110 days. So 65 is fixed. So 110 minus 65, you get 45. So vegetative stage or vegetative phase will be only for 45 days. Take the next variety, IR8. Its maturity is in 130 days. And as I told you, 65 days is fixed for reproductive and ripening phase. So 130 minus 65. So vegetative phase will be there only for 65 days. So now you see 45 days and 65 days. Whatever this short variety is doing in 45 days, same thing this long duration variety is doing in 65 days. So where the difference is existing, what more a long duration variety is doing during this vegetative phase, what extra it is doing, why it is taking 65 days and other is taking just 45 days during vegetative phase. You will see it. Now you see this is in pictures, the same thing is depicted in picture. So 35 plus 30, it makes 65, 110 minus 65, 45 is the vegetative days, days of the vegetative stage. Similarly, 130 minus 30 minus 35. So it is 65 days vegetative phase for IR8. So now you can easily calculate, if I tell you duration of a variety in India, so you can easily tell that when the panicle initiation will start, when the flowering will start, and when the maturity will happen. If you know one thing, only one thing, that is duration of the variety, then you can easily calculate, you can easily divide that duration into three components: vegetative stage, reproductive stage, ripening stage. You need not to feed it into your brain. If you know this concept or fundamental thing, you can easily know when a particular stage will come in rice or particular phase will come in the rice life. Now you see this three phases vegetative, reproductive, and ripening can be subdivided into different growth stages. Number one is actually numbered 0. So stage 0 is germination to emergence. Germination means just breaking of the seed and the plumule and radicle, they come out. When they come out, this is known as germination. And when this seedling or the plant comes out of the soil, when it is visible to our eyes from eyes on the soil, then it is emergence. When it breaks the soil and come out of the soil, this is known as emergence. So germination to emergence is 0 stage. Then stage 1 is seedling, 2 is trilling, and 3 is stem elongation. These 4 stages makes vegetative phase. Stage 4 is panicle initiation to booting, and then stage 5 heading or panicle exertion. Here I want to tell you that heading and flowering, they almost happen together. Immediately after heading, or you can say immediately after 24 hours of heading, your flowering will start in rice. Flowering. So it is very difficult to judge the difference in heading. Heading means when your panicle breaks the flag leaf and it is open. When it comes out of the flag leaf, it is known as heading or emergence of the panicle. And immediately after the emergence of the panicle or exertion, it is also known as panicle exertion. Immediately after that, within 1 day, flowering will start in the same panicle. So heading and flowering, they are almost happening together. And next, stage number 6 is flowering, which immediately starts after heading. And then stage 7 is milk grain stage, and 4, 5, and 6 makes your reproductive phase. And then 7 is milk grain stage, 8 is duff grain stage, and 9 is mature grain stage. We'll see in detail about these stages, and these 3, 7, 8, 9 makes your ripening phase. So now I think this classification is very simple. You please try to remember how this RE has divided different growth phases into stages of rice. Now you see again the duration of the variety. You see on x-axis it is days after sowing. 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, and then it looks to be 130 days old variety. Remember, it is 120 to 140 between, so it is about 130 days old variety. So you can see here that germination has happened in 5 years, first 5 years, 4 to 5 years. And then you see IT. This is known as initiation of tillering. So up to this stage, up to 20 days, it is a seedling. It is a seedling. It has not given birth to new seedling or tiller. Up to 20 days, it is a seedling. And then it will start, initiation of the tilling will start. IT means initiation of tilling after 20th day. And then active tilling will happen at about 45 days. 40 to 45 days, it will increase tiller number very fast, which is known as active tilling. And you see 60 or then 65 days. At 65 days, you can see IP. So it is initiation of panicle. Or panicle initiation is happening at 65 days. Then you see 80 days. After 80 days, you get about, say, 85 days. At about 85 days, you have seen the B. B means boot leaf stage. B means boot leaf stage where panicle is covered by the flag leaf and some kind of bulging appearance is shown by the plant. Then at about 100 days, there will be flowering or heading, you can call it heading or flowering. And then at 130 days, it will mature. So after flowering, you can see it is taking 30 days time. So from 100 to 120 and then 30. So it is taking, from flowering to maturity, it is taking about 30 days time. In this case, you can see this is another variety which is 140 days. So you try to understand how different stages or phases are coming in this case. 3 phases, vegetative, reproductive, and grain filling phase. or ripening phase. So you can see initiation of tilling 20 days, active tilling 45 days, initiation of panicle, you can see it is about at 75 days, and boot leaf stage at 100 days, and flowering at about 110 days, and then maturity at 140 days. So almost same thing, just you extend it by 10 days. Now see, very interesting fact about this kind of, many times you are asked about vegetative lag phase in rice. What is the meant by vegetative lag phase in rice, LAG, lag phase in rice? Now with the help of this slide and next slide, you can understand the meaning of vegetative lag phase. So see, this is the example for a short duration variety. In this picture, the data is given with respect to short duration variety, 105 to 120 days old variety. This is the case. You see, just on the x-axis, it is seeding was done, and then after seeding, emergence will be there. So first line, this curved line, you can see, it pertains to the plant height. It pertains to the plant height. There are 3 boxes. So it starts from the first box, and plant height increases during the vegetative phase. And you see when the flowering happens. After flowering, there is no change in plant height till maturity. I think you should be able to see this line. See the next line. Next line is about the tiller number. The tiller number start increasing during the vegetative phase, and they almost stop at the reproductive phase. At the start of the reproductive phase, there is almost no tiller production further, and it declines even in reproductive phase, and after flowering, it remains constant. This is how tiller production behave. And panicle length, you can see, panicle length increases only for first 30 days from panicle initiation to flowering. But after flowering, there is no change in the panicle length. So these are the 3 important facts you should remember about plant height, that after flowering, there is no change in plant height. After tiller number, after flowering, tiller number, no change. After flowering, there is no change in panicle length. However, in maximum tiller number, maximum panicle initiation, and internal node elongation, these 3 activities are happening together at one particular point of time. In short duration variety, you get maximum tiller number, panicle initiation, internal node elongation. All these 3 are happening in a very shorter period of time, or they are overlapping each other. They are not distinctly visible. So this kind of variety, there is no vegetative lag phase. Its duration of vegetative phase is very small, just 45 days or 50 days. Now see the next slide. In next slide, everything is same. Just concentrate on the word written here is lag vegetative growth. So here you see in the last case, you have seen that maximum tiller number, internode elongation, and panicle initiation. All are here, all are happening separately, one after other. But in the last case, in case of short duration variety, all these 3 different functions happen together, or activities by the plant happen together. But here there is distinct one after other. First, in the vegetative phase, the plant will reach the maximum tiller number. And this is only for the long duration variety which are 135 or more days duration. So maximum tiller number will be reached in vegetative phase, then stem elongation will happen, and after the stem elongation for some period, and then panicle initiation will start. So you got this is actually wastage of time. People say that you are having 3 distinct phases. So in this case, you get this vegetative phase for a long time. So it is lagging. What it is doing actually? So practically people have done some work, and plant is not doing much in this vegetative lag phase. It is just taking kind of rest, just preparing itself for the reproductive phase. So it is the thought of the people that plant is not doing much, just elongating and taking some rest. Like you must have seen a tiger or lion, when they attack, they just take some big long breath, and then they take rest and take their body back. Internode elongation